What's happening? What's happening? It's Deshaun Jones from Enveonline.
It's Azar Johnson, partner in crime, Enveonline.
Uh,
All right.
yeah, I guess this is our official episode 1.
Yes, it is, sir.
So we're going to call this a little sports cast, but I have to give credit to the engineer. He came up with that. Shout out to him.
Salute.
Got to give him his credit.
Yes, sir.
So we got a few topics we want to talk about in regards to sports. On our platform, if you're new, we cover sports, fashion, hip-hop, politics. But for a lot of these segments, for right now, we'll be covering sports. So, want to get into it? We're going to start with...
We're
going to start with Deshaun Watson.
So, of course, in a lot of the news, it's been the whole Deshaun Watson situation. If anybody saw yesterday, he was, mandatory minicamp started yesterday. So, everybody had to report. He made it clear that he was basically, showcasing, because, he had to talk. Usually during situations like this, they don't usually say anything. But he had to, give his take and everything that was going on. And, he basically, proclaimed his innocence. He said what he needed to say. He said the same thing he's been saying from day one. He's never touched anybody or forced anybody.
Let me read the quote from ESPN.
Mm-hmm.
I never assaulted anyone. I never harassed anyone, or I never disrespected anyone. I never forced anyone to do anything. That's just a little snippet that I'm seeing on ESPN's Twitter feed.
Right. So I mean, and from the reports is that the team and the management and the owners are all behind him. There's nobody, basically on the team that's really, there's no leaks. There's no reports saying, hey, this guy is kind of acting goofy. He's acting funny. They're basically telling, they're basically 1,000% behind him. I think from the last time that we talked, though, let me say this. I think that what's alarming is that the number has went from 24, I think, to now 66. So there was a report in the New York Times, and these is not even women that's trying to sue him. This is just women that's just letting it be known, like, this is what your man did over here, and this is what he was doing. I mean, some of the reports were kind of crazy. So, which we're not going to really share on here. I'm not going to get all the details. But it was kind of graphic. So my whole thing is, as we said before, where there's smoke, there's fire. But at the same time, this is it's worse because I think when I looked upon this, when we talked last time, I saw maybe 6 to 8 games. And I'd be honest, I thought it was going to go 4 to 6. Because of this situation and how it's getting worse every day, I don't think he's going to play this whole season. I think they're going to sit him out the whole year. Like, it's just, Roger Goodell done already talked to him. They keep saying that they're waiting for more. You don't need to wait for more. This is really bad. So I think he's probably going to sit out the whole year. I think Jacoby Brissett's going to be starting for the Cleveland Browns. I think the case is just too high and it's too bad. And then that HBO special didn't really help either. I mean, not special, but, the interview on HBO Real Sports where they was talking about everything that they was doing. And everything that happened, and it's no disrespect to the women. I mean, like I said, women, whatever happened, I feel sorry for them too. My heart goes out, condolences go out to them for whatever happened. But the one thing that I didn't agree with is like some of the media, which I do not like at all. And I'm not a fan of one or two people, but I'm not gonna say any names. But then it was like, well, the women were credible. Really? What were they gonna do? Go on TV and not be credible? That's the same thing. And the same thing is fair in saying. Let me be fair in saying to Deshaun Watson. I mean, when you look at him, he's saying the same thing, and there's 66 women saying this about him. So it's not a thing of, saying that they're credible, so we should believe it. It's a thing of that. I think that where there's smoke, there's fire. He's gonna have to sit out a year. This is where we're at, basically. But I think Cleveland kind of knew that they were kind of prepared either way because they got Jacoby Brissett. They're fine with what they're doing. Go ahead, though.
This poses an interesting take. So, as I texted you earlier, you're more the football person. I'm more the basketball person.
Right.
The only reason why I'm familiar with this is because me and this dude share the same name. Unfortunately, my name is Deshaun Jones. His is Deshaun Watson. No relation. Mm-hmm. But, I'm a fan of Vlad TV, so I watch Vlad TV, and he interviewed Warren Sapp.
Right. Yeah, I saw that
today.
Clip. Yeah.
So Warren Sapp is saying some of the similar things that you're saying about the new 66 charges or
just accusations at this
accusations.
point. Yeah.
But one thing he made it clear, like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire. But the details that are coming out in the new cases, what doesn't look good for Deshaun is it's the details that came out. It makes it seem like it's looking like a pattern of behavior. And the fact that you got 66 massage therapists within, I want to say, a year time. Now, again, I can't go in on the details of this case. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not trying to get sued. But yeah, that doesn't look good. But besides the point, Warren Sapp made an interesting take. The Cleveland Browns?
Correct.
Cleveland Browns gave him $233 million. Guaranteed. And we all know that in the NFL, there's a lot of non-guaranteed contracts. You got $230, that's $250 million guaranteed money after the accusations came out. Because remember, these accusations came out prior when he was trying to leave Texas. Then things calmed down, but it was stuff brewing in the background, and then bam. So he made an interesting take. What does the Cleveland Cavaliers brass, the management, know that the public doesn't know? Are they going to back him, or are they prepared to lose? There has to be. He's going to sit out the season, like you said.
Yeah.
Rightfully so. You can't be behaving like this. And then outside, potentially, let's keep it a buck. You have this many accusations. There's potential jail time.
Yeah, but they try to take him to court, and that all they couldn't even indict it. So he's from those 22 or whoever took him to court, it didn't work out. And remember also this, not to cut you off. Remember also the lawyer. I want to say Rusty Hardin. I think that's Watson's lawyer. Watson's lawyer came out and already challenged the other lawyer and said, "Well, see, if you got all this proof and evidence, you can showcase it and share with the media. Since you think it's that bad and you feel that secure with what you're doing." So there was something that they knew that they were saying, "Yeah, let's take it to court. We not settling out of court." You get what I'm saying? I think as opposed with this now, I don't really hear his lawyers sounding as confident.
That's my point.
I think
so
that's
you brought up the old charges. I get it, but there's 66 or whatever. Like I said, new charges. Basically, getting back to the point where Warren Sapp said, "I'm more interested in what does the Cleveland Cavalier brass knows." He gave him $250 million. How is this going to play out for the long term? Yes, you have the quarterback that you named that's going to fill in.
Jacoby Brissett,
but we're talking about business here, sports business, a multi-billion-dollar industry. You don't give somebody $250 million in any business, and you're just going to watch him lose a year or 2 years or however long the penalty is going to be. So again, going back to Warren Sapp, I agree with his take. What does the Cleveland Browns know that we don't know about Deshaun Watson?
I think that they're willing to bank on. I think maybe it's not that they know, but I think the one thing they do know, he's going to be on the field at some point. And instead of sitting over there being a musical chairs game, we rather just get it over with now and bank on our future than rather just sit behind. Because I forgot the receiver. I think they got Amari Cooper, if I'm not mistaken. So they got Amari Cooper. They got that running game that's powerful. And I mean, you can't even stop the running game. The running game is elite. And then if you have Watson, you add that to it, it's basically looking like you got an offense that's crazy. And then the defense is they're good enough to take them. The whole whatever that offense brings on the field, they're good enough to hold to take over with that and complement that. So I think the Browns are looking at it like, okay, well maybe we'll take a year that we can do that. We're gonna do that, but we're not gonna play with everybody else. Look at everybody else that lost in that. Can we talk about that for a minute?
Oh, we got about a minute or so.
Okay. Look at everybody else that lost in that. So Atlanta is stuck with Marcus Mariota. I don't even know the Texans quarterback because God bless them. They said they're running with the guy that was taking over, and that didn't work out well. They finished like 4-12 or something like that. So you went with that. Who else? Carolina. I mean, Sam Darnold. We all know how that worked out last year. If there's anybody I'm thinking about that there was 4 teams that we knew right off the gate, and it was Houston. Well, Houston had lost out because of their behavior. Atlanta was in, Cleveland was in, Carolina was in, and there was one more team I'm missing. They were in too, and they all lost. And none of them have better quarterback situations. So when you ask about the Cleveland Browns about what is it that they know that they don't have that problem that they have. Because I could tell you as a Falcons fan, there's nobody that they drafted, I think, that even can help. I know Carolina's still scrapping, so they about to take Baker Mayfield, and their star receiver said that he don't even want him there. So, I mean, you look at Houston, that's just always a mess. Like what's the team we talking about the other time? Washington. They just like, why? They always a mess. So I think what Cleveland's looking at is like, we're willing to take this 1 year as opposed to looking at those other teams that are going to be going through years of issues and problems. That's what they're looking at. That's what they do know.
You see the eye I'm giving you?
Huh? Yeah.
You see the eye I'm giving you?
Yeah.
Can I go a tad deeper than this football stats and quarterbacks?
Go ahead.
Here's the flip side.
Okay.
Not trying to go viral, but everybody knows I'm a Steelers fan, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Are they banking on the NFL sticks behind players in situations like this, a la Ben Roethlisberger?
Do you think the Steelers are banking on that?
Do you think NFL owners are banking on this because the NFL has a history of sticking behind players in situations like this?
Yes.
A la Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah. Right.
Allegedly, only so I won't get sued.
Yes. Yeah.
So the NFL has a long history, and we'll wrap up this segment, but the NFL has a long history of sticking behind players, right or wrong, when they get in serious trouble like this, abusing women, sometimes harming women, sexually assault. There's many more. We can go on and on. So I think with the money they're putting behind them and the lawyers in the billion-dollar industry, unfortunately, the NFL, they're not for, as they try to say when they talk about, we're here for civil rights and stuff like that. Well, you're standing up for a lot of things but the women. And pretty soon that might affect ticket sales. So that's my take. There's going to come a point in time where the people who are buying these tickets are going to push the owners and say, okay, you signed them to $230 million. What happens if we stop buying merchandise? What happens if your ticket sales start dropping 20% a year? Then will affect your bottom line. That's my take on the Deshaun Watson situation.
Yeah, it's going to have to, I agree with you. I think it's going to have to take that. Let me say this too, and I remember this back then. They say, well, I think it's all, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for saying this, I think sometimes when I hear about the shield of the NFL, that's like such a joke. What shield are you talking about? The shield where you have racist hiring practices? What you talking about that shield? That's the shield you worried about? Because let me tell you, I can give you I'm giving away my age here, but I grew up in an era where the Dallas Cowboys were dominating, and they were super reckless. They were super reckless in their behavior. Okay. If they were, and remember, but back then there was no social media. All you had was pages, man. You didn't even have cell phones rocking like that. Not what they do now. So, I mean, the Cowboys are reckless. We all knew what Irvin and them was doing, but did that stop anybody from watching the game? Did that stop anybody from being a Cowboys fan? Did that stop anybody from going to the stadiums?
We're in a way different time than the mid-90s.
I feel you, but it's just, it was out there for us to see.
Okay.
And my whole thing is that, they talk about the shield. I mean, there's things that go on all the time, man. And I'm going to be honest with you. If it don't affect the numbers, I mean, I don't know what you're going to do. I mean, because it doesn't really hurt the shield. You think, let's be honest, and as much as people want to despise this comment, it's not that I agree with it, but let's look at this. What if Deshaun Watson does play this year? Let's just say Roger Goodell, which I know will never happen. Let's just say he says, you know what, based off that they couldn't indict him, we're not going to punish him, right? He goes out on the field. I know I ain't going to stop watching. I ain't got nothing to do with that. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure there's millions and millions and millions of fans that say, hey, yeah, dude is reckless, but I mean, it ain't really got nothing to do with us. And that's just the truth. You know what I mean? It's just the truth. It is what it is. People don't want to hear that, but I mean, that's just what it is. Until you show us that it bothers you, it is what it is. You know what I mean? I mean, there's hardly any black coaches in the NFL. I don't see nobody else stopping it. We all saw what they did to Kaepernick. We ain't seen nobody else stop watching. No, we done seen them do stuff all day. They don't stop watching. People don't stop watching the games. If you let those guys play.
So your take is, before we go to the next topic.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because certain situations in the past, such as racist hiring practice that we see, the general public still stands behind the league and watch the games.
Mm-hmm.
The Colin Kaepernick situation where people kind of stopped watching for 2 weeks and then went right back to normal.
Yep.
You think the same thing will happen with Deshaun Watson?
Yeah, it'll. It's a combination of both. And real quick, they're not gonna stop watching. Plus, I mean, people make mistakes. I mean, now this, you got some issues, brother.
Let me make it very clear.
You need to get that.
Let me make it very clear. Enveonline is in no way condoning the sexual assault, harassment of any women
at all.
Don't stand behind that. So, not gonna let nobody go viral saying that we're pushing that. But go ahead.
Yeah, but he has some issues that he needs to get fixed and correct. And I mean, he'll get a second chance. I mean, it is what it is. If he had Ryan Fitzpatrick's talent, then he wouldn't get another chance. But I think because of who he is, he's going to get another shot. And I mean, it is what it is. It's just he's going to have to go through a process. I'm pretty sure, but I don't see him playing this year.
Okay,
that's just what it is. I just don't see it happening.